It's time that we discuss the Miami Heat because the Miami
Yes.
Heat are in a bad place right now. They've lost 4 straight games, including a Friday night loss to the Milwaukee Bucks where Giannis wasn't playing, followed by a loss to the Charlotte Hornets. And I know everyone says Heat culture and they're always going to find a way and Coach Spo will find a way, but things aren't looking great. Now, over their last 4 losses, the Miami Heat are shooting 28.8% from 3. And to make that even worse, they're shooting 25.4% on what the NBA defines as wide open 3-pointers. That means a 3-pointer when a defender isn't even within 6 feet of you. Now, you might just say they're in a shooting slump and it will even out and they'll start hitting their shots. But over the course of the season, here are the teams with a worse offensive rating than the Miami Heat. You've got the Houston Rockets, you've got the San Antonio Spurs, and you've got the Charlotte Hornets. So looking at it from an offensive perspective, you'd think the Miami Heat are in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Now, luckily for the Heat, they've got a 4th-ranked defense right now in the NBA. That's keeping them where they are. They're currently the 7th seed. But Jimmy Butler has come out and said after their loss to the Charlotte Hornets that he's tired of losing. Now, they did sign Kevin Love and Cody Zeller. What impact do you think they will have on this team? And are the Miami Heat capable of turning their season around? Because the playoffs are not far away.
Well, as you know, that's a loaded question. However, when you look at their team, it's glaring that they are very small. Okay, you look at their guards that they're currently playing right now, Tyler Hero and the Vincent kid. Bam Adebayo is an undersized center. They have Jimmy Butler playing, he was playing the power forward position. I think they just added Kevin Love and inserted him into the lineup last game. And even though Kevin Love is 6'8" or so, by today's standards, he's relatively small when you look at the teams like, the Cleveland Cavaliers, for instance, or, your Boston Celtics. Everyone has 6'8", 6'9", small forwards, 2 7-footers at any given time on the floor. So they're a very small team. And in today's game, they're not a team, when you talk about Jimmy Butler, he's an excellent player, especially he plays terrific, on both ends of the court, as a two-way player. They're a team that, you don't think of spreading the floor. You don't think of a team who plays downhill with pushing the tempo, like a De'Aaron Fox, for instance, or a Ja Morant. So, they got to really look at their team and figure out what's their brand of basketball that they're going to need to play, that they can impose their will, that's going to give them the best opportunity to win. I wouldn't say they are a team that plays fast. I wouldn't say they're a team that spreads you out offensively because of their shooting. I would even say they're a team who, will look for matchups with one-on-one players. So they are a team right now. They have good players. However, I don't think they have an advantage at this moment. And they're looking and they're searching to figure out how they play. Now, the one staple that you would say about this team is they play hard. I think they play very well on the defensive end and they play selfless basketball. But overall, they don't have a player that plays this brand of regular season basketball. Okay, the playoffs is a different game, but the regular season, you're looking at them going, where's their advantage night in and night out? And you can see right now that they're struggling to find their true identity in the regular season that will translate to the postseason. And right now, they are, a 500 ball club right now, and they're searching for answers. Kevin Love, Cody Zeller, I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah,
they just
that's
picked
right.
up those guys. So I think they're trying to address the first issue, which is how to get bigger, because they have a hard time playing against the bigger teams in the league, right? The Joel Embiids, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks. Those are big teams. And right now they're trying to address that. So, one thing at a time. They have great coaching. I do like their culture, what they're trying to do. However, they're going to have to figure out talent-wise what they're going to need to that's going to work for them and how they really want to play.
Yeah, we all know Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches the NBA has to offer. Jimmy Butler, when it comes to the playoffs, he is one of the premier talents in the NBA. We've all seen what he's capable of in that playoff setting. Bam Adebayo is getting some shouts from some people for Defensive Player of the Year. Tyler Herro is a young scoring guard that can come in and give you buckets. Now, the rest of the team, the three-point shooters, haven't been doing what they usually do or what you would expect them to do. But for me, the failings of this roster and the reason why they are in the position that they're in is because of the lack of action from the front office. Now, they just picked up Kevin Love and Cody Zeller. But before that, they were the only team in the entire NBA that since August 2021, bear in mind, we're in 2023 now, made no moves. The only moves they made was trading KZ Okpala for some draft picks and trading Dwayne Dedman to get underneath the luxury tax. They, in that time, have had PJ Tucker and allowed him to walk for nothing. Markieff Morris walked for nothing. So as the rest of the Eastern Conference has strengthened their rosters, in particular the contending teams, when you look at the Celtics adding Brogdon and Derek White, when you look at the Milwaukee Bucks just picking up Jay Crowder now, and they even added Joe Ingles, who started to settle in. When you look at the Sixers, who added James Harden, the Miami Heat have done absolutely nothing. So for me, the failings of this team, as it were, because when you're in a team like Miami, lay on the front office and the lack of action that they've taken. They've historically done a great job with developing their own talent, but that hasn't been enough to carry them through. And the reason why all of this concerns me is Jimmy Butler is 33 years old. He still has 4 years remaining, including this one, on the contract that he signed, which was a monster contract, to the point where, when he's 36 years old, a player that relies on his strength and athleticism to attack on the inside, not his jump shooting, he will be making $52.5 million. So my question to you, BJ, is, do you think it's fair to Jimmy Butler to allow the Miami Heat to look at some moves in the offseason and move to build around the younger players of Herro and Adebayo? Because the timelines don't match up. The talent around those three guys I just mentioned isn't enough to go in a deep playoff run unless there's some, great fortune for the Miami Heat. Do you think that the Heat are going to make a big move this offseason to either bring in pieces to build around Jimmy Butler and go all in now, or to move Jimmy Butler along and look a little bit to the future?
Well, I think the major question, which I see, is they're going to have to address the front line situation. Currently, as I look at Jimmy Butler, in fairness to him, he's been playing out of position literally all year. Now, he is strong. He is athletic. When he can play the two position, Mo, he gives you an advantage because he is a big guard and he can overwhelm you with his athleticism, his strength, his ability to play through contact as a two. Now you start putting him at the four, Mo, and it's certainly there are guys just as big and stronger than him and taller than him. Now he can do it in stretches. However, for him to consistently do it, you got to give up something. So if you put him at the two and you put Bam at the four, now you have a chance to have a big team. So I think you have to look at saying, do we have enough pieces, right? And move things around or whatever it is to put our best players at their true natural positions. Because if you start off with Bam at the four and Jimmy Butler at the two, I think you got something. However, both of those guys currently now are playing out of position. And Bam, by the way, was an all-star playing as a five. So I'm not ready to give up on them, but I am ready to say right now we're going to have to build, but we got to put these guys back where they belong, right? Meaning what's best for the team. Jimmy Butler is still one of the best players that plays on both sides of the ball right now. As long as he can play that position. His at the guard position. You put a 6'7", 6'8" small forward next to that. You get a starting center next to Bam. Now you plug in at the lead guard position. You're back in business mode from what I can see as far as from an athletic viewpoint and talent, talent. I mean, you're talking about two elite all-star caliber players right there. And then you can fill in the rest of the pieces. So I'm not ready to give up on them, but I am ready to say, okay, the experiment of trying to plug and play with these guys in not their natural positions, I think has shown now that it's wearing over them, especially Jimmy. I mean, you go from playing a guard position to playing a power forward position, That's a big jump as far as, the pounding and playing really as an undersized player at that stage of his career.
Well, only time's going to tell what happens with Miami Heat, but something definitely needs to change. And I think this season could potentially be a wake-up call for them.